Hello everyone and welcome back to Painting with Martin. Today we're going to do a different video. I think I say that every time, but that's what it is. We're looking at, I'm going to show you what contrast paint is. And this is something from Citadel's color range. It comes in many different colors. This is contrast ultramarine. I'll see if you can see that. Ultramarine's blue. You have them in other colors such as this one is called Dark Angel's green, and then you have well, I can show you another one, skyish purple. And a contrast paint is very simple. They're called in other color companies, for example, Army Painter, they call them speed paints. And that's exactly what it is. It is simply a mix between a wash and a base color. So you skip the wash stage when you just put it on, so it's very fluid. So that means, if you can, I don't know if you can see this, well, maybe this one, there you can see all the pigments in a newly bought bottle is in the bottom. So you really need to shake this bottle really vigorously before you use it. So I'm going to shake it here on the side, because otherwise I will probably tumble over the camera. And that's what there is. And the other thing is they're very fluid. I'll open one bottle here and I'll show you. Yeah, you can see it's very fluid. It's almost like a wash in itself. But since you skip the wash stage, it makes painting much quicker, and you can go straight to the highlights. I have an unpainted figure here from Waylanders, the board game, that I showed you maybe previously. It had a broken figure, and I fixed it here with some plastic putty. There will be a video about that up quite soon, and how to do that. And there is also some white stone in the bottom here to some kind of simulate mountains and stuff like that. You can sculpt it to pretty much whatever you want. Stone, lava, rocks and stuff like that. It's very useful. I'll show you it over here as well. It's called white stone. It's a very thick stone kind of paste. But that's not the subject of today's video. One thing to think about when you actually paint with contrast colors is that the primer is very important. So in this case, I've primed it in white. You can also prime it in kind of like a bone color or beige color, but you cannot, and I'll repeat this again, you cannot paint contrast colors over darker primers, such as black or brown or gray. It doesn't really shine through. So you need something that really lights through the colors that you're putting on, and white in this case is quite okay. If you feel that your spray primer is not really up to date, you can also give it a thin, very thin coat of regular white or regular beige or regular bone white, just to make sure that you get everything right. So with this one, I'm going to show you how to paint on the blue kind of coat that he has. So I'm going to point it to you over here. He has this coat over here, as well as the straps over here, and then I'll put it up, turn it around, as well as the dark part, as well as his hood here. So I'm going to open the bottle and I'm going to put it on, and you can use pretty much any brush you want with this one. I'm going to use a bit of I'm going to try it with this size 2 brush, and I'll see how it goes. So as you can see, it's very fluid, and I'll put the paint bottle over here and I'll see if I can focus it up for you. So when you put it on here, it's very nice, and make sure that just like a wash, you fill in all those cracks, all those folds. And I'll turn up the camera just in a second, so I will show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like when you've got it up and close. As you can see, it acts very similar to a regular wash. So the thing with contrast colors or speed paints or whatever you want to call them, depending on what brand you're using, is there's one thing to be careful about. Since they're very fluid, they tend to like mix in with other colors. So you paint them one at a time. Otherwise, they can be very rinse into the other colors you painted, and it means you also need to wait until they're fully dry. If you don't have a problem with that, because you would wait until they're dry anyways with a regular wash, you're saving quite a bit of time here in this one. So I'm going to see if I can get this right. Yeah. Since I only have the artwork looking at it, I'm not going to show you the artwork right now from the board game. It might be on the title screen, so you can see what I'm aiming at here. Then it's this figure in particular is very suited for contrast paint or speed paint or whatever you want to call them, because it has very few colors. But even if you have a miniature that has lots of colors, you can actually paint it with speed paints as contrast colors as well. This Ultramarine's blue is also very, very vibrant, and it will cover a lot of this miniature. As you can see, I'm taking great care not to blend in the miniatures, blend in the paint with what we have the rest one, because it can be a little bit tricky to actually fix your mistakes. That's the other downside of these contrast paints. But otherwise, I really, really like them. I've used them before, and especially it's really good on, say, for example, Star Wars Imperial Assault, the Red Guard. There is a color called Dark Angels Red, and you pretty much simply paint the entire figure in that contrast color, and that takes care a lot of the the painting. You can, instead of spending something like 1 hour or something like that on a miniature, you can actually spend something like 10 minutes, and then you get it ready for the table. And as you see here, I'm not really aiming to win any competition or something like that. It's simply meant just to make sure that you can see how it can be done. And you're probably wondering, what if I were to paint this one with a regular color? What would be the difference? And my plan is to take the other miniature that I have of this figure. It's a Celtic sorcerer from Waylanders, the board game. Thank you very much for Draco Ideas that gave me the game so I could show you how to paint it. So I'm going to show you just briefly what it would look like if I were to paint this one with another blue color, but that is not a contrast. So you can see directly. I'm just going to give you the brief overlook right now of the cape here, because it's really nice. I'm not aiming to make it really perfect here, but just for you to have a good overview of what it is. With contrast paints, you don't really need 2 coats, but you can, if you want to, add that coat. So I just want to put some coat over here. So there we go. I also changed my setup here a little bit, so I'm showing you from a different angle. If you like that one, please don't hesitate to say so in the comments. The other issue I have with contrast paints, and I have to say that as well, is that some colors are really good for contrast: blue, green, purple, red, and so on. Some colors are not, such as it's hard to paint white or grey or black. There are contrast colors for that, but they're very very thin, and I don't like them that much. But or it could also be that I don't even know how to paint with them properly. That's also another option, because I'm not an expert here. The good thing with painting this one in a with a white background, with a white primer, is that you can easily see what it's mixed, and it actually doesn't. There you go. So this one shows contrast paint quite nice and easily. I'm going to switch over to, I'm going to clean my brush, and making sure that I clean it really well, because the contrast paint sticks very easily to the brush. So make sure that it's fully clean until you switch to another color. Now, if I were to paint the other figure that is over here, I'm going to leave this one at the side now to dry so you can see it. Say I were to choose, say, blue from Vallejo. Put some blue on my palette, give it a good shake, of course. can see I've used blue here before, and you can see what it would be like if I painted straight blue, neat from the bottle. And you can see this one. Gonna put just on a little bit on the fold here, because I want you to see what the difference will be if I paint this one, and you can decide for yourself if you like this one better or not. Keep in mind it's not exactly the same color, and I do use a different brand as well than Citadel. So I'm just going to show you here right now what the difference will be. On your right you can see the contrast, on your left you can see the regular base paint. Okay, if I were to say paint this one with a Citadel color, because just to make sure that the comparison is correct, I could use something like Macragge blue, which is a little bit on the darker side, and give it a good shake, and you can see what the difference would be if I put it next to, or on the other side even, give it a little bit of different coat. This is Macragge blue from Citadel. Giving it a different tone variation on the inner side of the cloak is actually not a bad idea. You can play around with those colors if you like, to see one might be a darker look and one might not. So this is Macragge blue from Citadel. This is regular blue from Vallejo. Holding it up here for you to see. So Macragge blue, Citadel. Give you a little bit better look. Macragge blue. Non-contrast paint, regular base paint. Regular blue from Vallejo, base paint. I'm putting it right next to the other one right now so you can see. On your right, this one here, you can see Citadel's contrast paint for the Ultramarine blue contrast paint. And you can see contrasting here next to the Macragge blue of Citadel as well. And on the other side, I'll turn it around so you can see the difference again. This is what it looks like. So if I add the wash to this one, keep in mind this one is, the left figure is without the wash, this one is mixed kind of like wash and base color as well. So there you have it. There you can see what the actual clear difference it is. I could actually paint a little bit more right now, but I think this one gives you a hint of what it looks like. One thing I might actually mention is that some contrast paints are really, really good at doing what they're supposed to. And I'll give you one simple example for this. Give it a good shake. It's still a contrast one from Citadel, and this one is called Contrast Wyldwood. It's one of my favorite colors because it paints brown, and brown can be used for many things. It can be for staffs and wood and stuff like that. And for wood colors, this is really, really good. And I'll show you what it looks like because this one is almost dry now, to put the wooden staff over here. Now it may appear too dark after a while, but keep in mind when it dries it is actually quite nice. And you can even put some of this one on the fur coat over here. As you can see, the white shows through quite beautifully. I'm going to head up the camera just in a second so you can see it close up and personal. Just going to be a bit easier for me to have it a little bit further away from me when I'm painting it. So you can really see it pulls into the recesses here of the cloak, or actually of the fur coat on top. If you miss a spot, just go over it again and you can see that it's nice. And it's right now time for you to actually see it. So right now, this is what the fur coat looks with contrast Wyldwood. And then the other side. And when this one dries, it's going to leave a very nice look as well. You can use another contrast paint as well for brown. This one called Signal Brown, which is a little bit lighter, if you like the lighter look. Now, the last thing I will say for contrast paints is that you can also use this one, or speed paints, whatever you want to call them, you can use them to paint facial details. And I'm really bad at painting faces, so I've used this one a lot. So in this one, I'm going to show you what it looks like from speed paints, Crusader skin. Let's see if I get it up and yeah. This one has a little metal ball inside of it, and it gives, as you can see, it gives a very nice sound when you do that. It has a metal ball inside of it, kind of like a ball bearing, because it means that you can shake up the paint here much faster compared to if there is no ball bearing inside of it. And it is also a dropper bottle, just like Vallejo's. These are called, I'll show you another one. This is a dropper bottle. You've seen this one before. It's called Red Leather. It's a dropper bottle like this. It's also a dropper bottle like this. It's not exactly the same one, probably because of patterns and everything. So I'm going to put something like this over here. Same kind of like texture as Citadel's range of speed paint of contrast, but this one is called Speed Paints. So I'm going to show you right now what it looks like if I were to paint the face. I'm going to put some colors on it, and then I'm going to focus up into and also the skin details here of the arm. I'm going to focus up here in just a second, so you can see what it's like. All right, so hopefully you can see here. The arm looks a little bit more skin colored. It already looks a bit toned down, and you can actually fix this if you think it's too much wash on it. You can actually fix this by actually dry brushing some regular skin paint on top of it if you like. But for the tabletop and for the face, it looks fairly alright as well. It gives some, if you think it's a bit too much, just take a damp brush and soak it up like I showed you before, and it works well. Now this is the end of this kind of like tutorial of using contrast and speed paints. But if you like this video, and you can see that it's unfinished anyway, so I'm going to add some more colors afterwards as well. I might just show you what it looks like, just because I've never used this color before. I'm going to use something called Dark Angels Green from Citadel. I'm going to show you what it looks like with a green vibrant color to actually contrast the contrast paint. Oh, I got that. Hope I got that right. This is why I told you before, it's good to let it completely dry before you apply the next layer of paint. And inside here as well. So you can see here, this is what it looks like. It's almost ready actually. You just need some final details about it, some more skin color on the legs, and paint the beard black or gray. You can use that with a regular color and then just use some wash over it. And for skulls, I actually don't use. You can use something called ivory, which is a really good color from Vallejo. But you can also use straight pure dark wash over it and letting it pool in the recesses like I showed you. So I'm going to show you what it looks. Oh yeah, it's black wash. Just painting the black wash over the skull as it is. Oh. So this one here, and then on the other side. This is not a contrast color, this is a regular wash. And then what you do here is that you simply take away all the, you don't let it pool except in the skull part, like the facial part, and you simply dry brush it up afterwards with some white or ivory. And I want to show you what it looks like when you actually can see it over here. Looks fairly okay just for a tabletop level. Alright, just adding a tiny detail there. Hopefully you can see that. Really beautiful miniature. And you can see here as well, if you feel that it's pooling too much in the recesses, just like with a regular wash, you can just let it soak up here with a damp brush and it will be fine. So thank you very much for watching so far. If you like this video, please don't hesitate to like, share and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, I really appreciate it. And if you like these painting tips and these techniques, I'm gonna keep doing this because I really like it. So thank you very much for watching, and go and put some paint on those brushes, paint some miniatures, go and have fun, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.